Actually, no. That's an interesting adaptation. Playing just normal goats.
And the thing is, if you are expecting the defense to be primarily running, especially our Rhine-based goats, if you are the attackers, you could potentially look to swap something out. Both teams just want to take it safe here. Rodtung is going to be on the Winston, so for LYNX looking for the early advantages against Nexus.
That's the thing, it gives them just that little bit of a potential edge in this first fight, but it's after that when Nexus gets going that it's a bit of a troublesome situation. Moving forward now, Rodtung just trying to break their way in. Velo takes a bio, nades the action to back up. Instead, you see
one
get low, but one overextends. This is a huge opening now. There was actually a great wraparound that went in there from Rodtung, and now they crack the gates wide open. LYNX absolutely barreling forward in this one. Resty going down, and this is all but a gimme.
And the problem there is, Nova got baited into taking that fight. Oyo did land a bio nade. That's why he was waiting on the sides, looking for the angle for either a sleep or a nade. Lands a nade on a couple members. Unfortunately, not enough members to really give Nova an advantage, and not lasting long enough for Nova to actually find a pick. They overstayed. One gets himself picked up, and then they go into a 5 versus 6 that LYNX clean up very easily.
This is where Nova should be able to dig in their heels a bit more. Coming up on a grab from Blue will be very important. They've got the straight respawn advantage. LYNX first rotation is a successful one.
It's a long rotation as well. They're going to go onto the high ground possibly here. They may still remain on the low ground, yet to be seen, but they are using up a bit of time here. Nova don't mind waiting for now.
They've got the rally advantage. That's one thing that LYNX have going for them here. Good spot out on Nexus, but the bubble's there. They can't quite pick him off. But Rodtung getting aggressive has done a good job of just disrupting what Nova were playing. Great stun, great grab on Blue to stop up the grab. Now Notsuno-sama has his, can throw it out uncontested when the time is right. Still going to get the damage in for the time being. First third already over for LYNX now. So they've got good ultimates at their disposal. Nice placement on the grab. Keeps Nova off the point. Disgusting play.
You can see his positioning there. Blue was brother Notsuno-sama looking for the pillar grab to deny anybody from getting onto that point. They already had 2 ticks, and Nova were just too slow to get on and stop it. This is very uncharacteristic from Nova. Completely run over on the A defense, completely run over on the B defense, resulting in a 6-minute 14 time back. LYNX completed the map in under 2 minutes.
I mean, it's such a big brain play, right? It works because they knew that Nova were going to wait for all 6 members to respawn. They didn't need to trickle on one by one to force a contest. They had time to wait for a full reset. That's what you should do in that situation. It's smart and it's disciplined. However, because they were moving as a full 6, the grab, if placed well, could guarantee to catch everyone with no one person being able to make that little contest that would have potentially allowed Nova to hold out. Such a smart play by LYNX, taking advantage of Nova's discipline.
And I want to really highlight here, Blue going down as he had the Graviton Surge was certainly a bit of a tough pill to swallow for Nova as well. They really needed that Graviton Surge to compete. And unfortunately, because they had to wait for him, this is part of the reason why Nova had to play very patiently. Didn't want to take too many risks by trickling onto the point. As you said, they needed the Graviton Surge to come back into that fight, but they never got it because they waited too long and they got themselves grabbed off the point.
So clever. And I do have to make a slight addendum. It wasn't for a full 6 respawn. It was actually only 5 as well. So that just goes to show how pear-shaped that fight had gone prior. But moving forward now, LYNX on the defense. Bastion Bunker.
And this is where, for LYNX, they're the ones going to be experimenting at least a little bit here. Nova, once they spot this out, they can go back into spawn and change up if they like, but to be honest, with the Doomfist, they do also have options to contest. Nope. What you're probably looking to see here is, I honestly think a May is a very good counter to a Bastion personally, but they are going to go for what is a standard Goats comp instead.
Yeah, keeping the Winston in here as well, so that's Nexus changing off the Reinhardt. This is so they've got a bit more of that vertical mobility. You got the defense making
they want to go for it.
Shots, and they get right on top of Notsuno-sama. This is dangerous positioning. Rodtung a little low, but they keep him up for the time being, and actually now it's Blue that takes him in much hurt. Nexus going down. Notsuno-sama just very disciplined, relying on the team to keep him alive, and it's paying off now. Is the first push in from Nova unsuccessful, and this is where LYNX can get the ultimate engine started.
And I'm a little surprised that Nova wanted to take the fight directly. They could have chosen to just rotate onto the point, force LYNX to reset up their defense here, which is exactly how you work around a bunker comp. You don't let them set up where they like. You force them to have to move around the map to meet you, and then while they are transitioning across to the other side of the point, then Nova can strike.
And now going to be dealing with Notsuno-sama's tank for.
Still want to fight.
They've just got to move aggressively. Nice group up, but unfortunately a few too many shots on the rotation. Now Crazy S His mech's super low. It will get topped off, but Nutsuru-sama wants to go hunt killer.
Here.
It's a bit of a rotation around the side. Might have been a preemptive tank form, actually, because it's mostly run out by the time he gets in a position where he can shoot at them on this high ground. Now it's forced back down onto very low ground. So Nova, even in a 5v6, and in an okay spot.
To be honest, though, the tank form is not a huge value ultimate into this fight, but what is high value is getting the fight on top of the point Transcendence used.
Yeah, this is big now for Nova. They've actually been able to get Blue regrouping from the backside in this fight. Now Nexus still goes down, and Nutsuru-sama still uncontested. The supercharge to get picked off, but look at this, Rodzonk's still alive. Bumbarapa was able to re-mech in that fight. Oh, bump forward on the self-destruct, and oh, unfortunately Nutsuru-sama not able to get out of that position quick enough, but Nova are still in a very scattered position, and like you said, Res available, not anymore. Not if Blue's anything to say about it. Blue's even going to dispatch a Bellow, and suddenly Nova just fight their way out of an impossible situation. Absolutely out-frag, get a few crucial kills, and they've broken the point.
It was actually really awkwardly played, I want to say, by both teams. For Nova Esports, just trying to fight again after losing Blue, then deciding to back off and go for the long rotation. It was going to be a very difficult time to regroup with Blue, considering that he was probably just going to getting locked up in spawn while 5 members trying to attack the point. Nova, though, they eventually out-rotate LYNX, who just couldn't quite catch enough members, now finally capping out, going on to B. Note they've already lost a decent amount of time, and this push is probably over.
Welcome back, Bellow. This is the Doomfist we've been waiting for. As impressive as one's was, now it's time to see Bellow shine.
This is a tough place to be. Once again, Nova Esports caught with 5 members. They have to wait for Restia, but can you really wait for Restia properly when most of the LYNX are all over this point right now? Here he comes, but can he get to his team in a reasonable sort of fashion here where he get caught up?
Ooh,
nearly went down.
Able to make it around the side. Has to use the speed boost to do it, but they still could get caught in the rotation here. Actually able to successfully make it up. Huge Bionade though, and that just means these members cannot survive the dive from Bellow and Nutsuru-sama. Even with the counter pick on Bellow, it's nowhere near enough to preserve the team in the fight. So again, Nova losing members despite what should be such a huge ultimate advantage.
That's a big fight win for LYNX because they get to charge some ultimates here after swapping onto a new composition. Both DPS players here, a Doomfist and a Genji. Dragonblade coming up soon. For Nova, they still get to keep what was ultimate charged from that initial fight. They have nearly 6, but because they didn't get to fight that last engagement, they're now giving LYNX TH the ability to catch up.
This is really huge for LYNX as well. I mean, we're already guaranteed the longer time if we get to time bank, but just continuing that lead. Now, Bumbarapa finally going to have to try to self-destruct to preserve the mech, but he will be able to preserve the mech now. Dragonblade in on top of Nova. Sound Barrier largely counters it. That's also the nano boost committed as well. So Nova have weathered the worst of it. Now the question is, how will they counterattack? They'll find Bellow, they'll find Bumbarapa's mech. This is what Nova have been needing thus far. Finally cracking their way onto the point itself. Starting to tick up that progress as Nutsuru-sama gets picked up and Blue begins a bit of a hold.
We need to start seeing some more ultimates come online for Nova as well because they've basically run out here. 2 ticks have been expended and LYNX, they need members.
Yeah, contest by Bellow over the Meteor Strike.
Stunned up
Him high and dry in the middle of the Nova lineup. Indeed going Nova as it were. LYNX just trickling onto the point. Now Rod Tongue going to go down with that Orb and Discord on him. Nutsuru-sama can stall a little bit longer as the maid, but it is only that. It is only stalling at this point in time. Bellow going to have a second pass at it, but no such luck. And with just under half the amount of time as LYNX, Nova will cap.
This is where for LYNX TH, a couple of question marks do come on. The Genji pick was a little bit strange. The Doomfist, you got to say, especially for someone like Bellow, probably not too unexpected. You can play a Goats. Basically, the 5 members of Goats plus the Doomfist that we did see a lot of coming through for Nova Esports, but the addition of the Genji there, where you saw the Dragonblade, not very effective. The Ana was kind of 50-50. The Bionade can be very effective. The Nano boost on the Genji Dragonblade as well, not really getting them the mileage that they're looking for, so bit of an awkward defense. Started out decently, got Restia on that initial approach, forced a lot of time to be wasted as Nova had to wait for that respawn, allowed Restia to unfortunately get back with the team. They won the fight anyway, but following that, it was all Nova. They still managed to cap out, but it is half the time.
And it is quite interesting, actually, that LYNX's most successful fights were the ones where A, they didn't really have ultimates, and B, they were actually fighting from an ultimate deficit compared to Nova. They had to rely on catching Nova in rotations, sort of out-positioning them, out-fragging, and they did that very successfully. And then when they went to rotate into the ultimates, Funnily enough, that's when the style of fighting becomes a bit more predictable. That's when Nova go, okay, they're going to use a Nano Blade, they're going to use this, okay, we've got Boombarappa's self-destruct out of the team, they can't combo that with anything right now, they can't just use it as a last ditch. Suddenly, because you know what LYNX are going to be trying to use, you can actually kind of predict it and you can play around it, which is exactly what Nova did. So it's just interesting how that ends up playing out. You almost wish LYNX had continued playing the way they had, because it was harder for Nova to keep a handle on it.
I do also want to highlight specifically the kill into Bello as he came down from the meteor strike, because that specifically is a play that one basically never got punished for at all. The Brigidas just never really found the shield bash to find one, stun him up and collect that kill. Bello straight away coming down from the meteor strike, instantly shut down. That's exactly the way you want to be beating a Doomfist player, and it's just seemingly a little one-sided here when Nova find the way to kill Bello so easily, but LYNX CH just could never do the same thing versus one.
We do just have a little bit of a delay, by the way. One of the players of LYNX has had a slight issue, but it looks like all things resolved. Should be getting back into the match now, so thank you for bearing with us as we get into our time bank. As we said, Nova 3:03 on the clock is just under half of what LYNX did. So there is still a big disparity between these two teams coming into time bank, but Nova are looking clean as ever.
And this is where you have to really think for LYNX TH, the most winnable position they've been in all night. If they are going to mount some sort of a comeback, if they do want to take some maps here, or even complete a reverse sweep, it has to happen ASAP, and this has to be the map they do it. And if they don't get it here, well, obviously they lose, but there's a lot more questions need to be asked, because when else are you going to get a lead like this? 6 minutes 14 versus 3:03. This should be insurmountable for other teams.
But then this is also the point at which on our other maps thus far, Nova have just turned on the heat, kicked it up a notch, and absolutely slam dunked LYNX. So
I want to
maybe
say,
it's
though,
going to be a full cap and a full hold again.
Nova have never been this far behind. That is the only caveat, which is why I have to say for LYNX, it is their most winnable position yet. If they lose here, they're not going to find any other scenario that's as favored for them probably in the series.
It's very telling. Also, Nexus, this time not going to be on the Winston. Going to stick to the Reinhardt as they make the rotation.
This time not taking the fight. Very smart.
Low ground. Holt nearly caught Crazy S. Ooh, it does catch Nexus. Keeps him exposed for just long enough. They have got a third on the point, though.
This is the issue now, because Nexus is the main member here. For someone else, maybe wait for the respawn. It looks like Nova are going to wait anyway, but I'm very concerned about Nexus. He kind of just has to charge on top of the point as soon as he respawns, but if he gets caught mid-charge by a lot of damage, I mean, he's just going to go down.
What they need to do is really keep the Orisic distracted, but, I mean, look at this. Rodtongue knows it. He saw Nexus coming and is just constantly checking back, trying to distract the Orisic. This is the time to strike now for Nova. This is the game plan. They do isolate Rodtongue, but not Tsurusama. Just absolutely destroys those few members of Nova, trying to make the sneaky play there. 3 now with the tank ultimate. That's going to be the rest of Nova taking a dive.
Very early ultimate as well. He did the majority of the damage there. You can see there, 100% from him, 80% from the rest of his teammates, and not even that from Nova right now. And that was a very expensive loss for Nova, because they just had the full rotation from them to get them to the top of the point, losing Nexus, waiting for Nexus to respawn, then trying to start a fight, losing that fight, and now about half that time that they had for the time bank has been lost.
Now they've got to find another way to rotate, this time taking a long rotation.
Dodge the Holt's important.
Less susceptible rather to the Holt's, but more susceptible to just the Bastion left click.
And this is where Crazy S's job is very important. He's got to make sure he can eat the Holt if possible. There's the comes move. Now, do still stay alive though, very important.
Yeah, nice timing on the barrier, and now they're on the point. Again, they're actually still in the line of fire of Nutsurusama. You see that reflected in his ultimate charge, already back up at just under 80%. But Nova on the point. When will LYNX contest? Because this is the second, third. They can't just sit back with Nutsurusama forever. They've got to get on the point, and that's where things get dicey. Transcendence, nice place there. Crazy S does lose the mech, but now the tank form shoots one in to find the pilot. Bomber up against Team X. Sound barrier trying to keep this team in the fight. Nutsurusama firing off these shots still. Hasn't had that same luck this time around. LYNX, though, they haven't exactly got the kills. Now they have Nova. That's a shadow, though, that's going to change the pace of the fight altogether. And he's seen that Tsurusama can now safely get on the lower ground there, open up on the point, and that will again be Nova getting repelled.
And this is where LYNX, just to get the cash in on those ultimates, they are losing a lot of members, though, and the even trades here really do favor Nova as they come back with the reinforcements.
but these are some late deaths on the side of Nova as well. Nexus going down with only 25 seconds on the clock. Crazy S only going down with 20 seconds on the clock. Now at 15, Nova will not be able to fully respawn.
And by the way, though, still waiting for Nutsurasama. He's the key member here. He's only a Bastion. He's not very quick, and they need his turret to do a lot of damage as Nova do get the regroup in time. And Nutsurasama, where is he?
The LYNX don't have these ultimates at their disposal. Nova barely do once they get Crazy S in the fight. Oyo barely staying alive. That is so crucial. The Nexus immediately charging in, fires one. Rod Tongue dropped as well. And Nova at last off to a good start because, like you said, Nutsurasama couldn't be there in the setup position they needed to stop Nova's rotation, and thus Nova can successfully get the point.
And that's so dangerous for LYNX TH as well. Look at the ultimates for Nova, nearly onto the Graviton Surge for Blue, and they've got just about everything else. LYNX, they just have to wait. Nutsurasama on 88%. If they can get another tank for him, maybe they can defend.
They're committing to this as well. The Earth Shatter out though, and they just get right into following it up. Nutsurasama actually has to be careful, looking to come in from the side now with that tank form, but they get aggressive. They get up in his face to stop this one out. The shield on Nexus, the barrier as well. Nutsurasama goes down to the Fire Strike, and suddenly as the overtime begins, Nova in a massively favorable position on this point B. Bello again, last minute contest, gets stunned up, gets dropped down. Now it's Zobi's turn, just to get some boots on the ground, trying to extend this overtime a little bit longer, but the kills are still constantly coming through the weight of Nova, and they are indeed on the cusp of getting a full second cap out now. That's going to be it going over in the overtime. Now will they complete the full hold? Will they re-establish dominance?
And it's back-to-back for Nova, and we're just getting flashbacks from Hollywood all over again. We're not quite the same level of deficit, much more competitive on the Hollywood map, but still going into this, they only had about 3 minutes something. You don't normally expect a team, unless it is LYNX TH, just snowballing from A to B, to completely finish the map in that time. Nova, in this time bank, got a better time completion than they did on their original attacking phase.
This is a very interesting situation now, because it is starting to fall in to what we've been seeing on every other one of these maps so far. And I can't believe we're saying that when you looked at how one-sided it was looking going into that time bank. Now look, I'm not saying Nova have won it yet. They haven't had the full hold just yet. And I'm not saying it's definitely going to happen, but it's definitely going to happen.
And the other thing is, I mentioned I don't really value the tank ultimate that much from Bastion, because you sort of see there towards the end, outside of the huge rack of kills he got at the start, towards the end there, if Nexus is in position with the shield, if Craziest is there with the defensive matrix, hell, even you have Brigida being played by one, he throws up a shield as well, there's a lot of damage mitigation, there's a lot of ways you stop that damage coming out from the tank form, and in fact, you typically do more damage in the turret form than the tank form, unless you're getting a lot of AoE damage from the tank form. The stream of bullets coming through from a sentry mode actually out-damages the shields in a lot more of a fashion for Nova against Nova Esports, but alas, it is now the attacking phase from LYNX. They have a lot of time to play with, but can they make use of that?
And we are now in a Bastion-less situation. LYNX are going to again play the Winston Goats into the Rhine Goats. This worked very well for them in the opening fight last time. This time, though, Rod Tongue not going to be able to get that same sneaky wrap around, and Zobi getting punished in the front rotation of the fight. LYNX are going to get absolutely routed here for their first push.
That's a very big win already for Nova Esports, charging up some very quick ultimates. LYNX TH have to start thinking about things now. If Rod Tongue wants to change, now would be a good time, because Nexus will be getting that Earth Shatter in very quick succession here. For LYNX TH, just have to go for another push. Nearly a minute off the clock.
This is a very peculiar situation for LYNX to be in. They're actually at a point where they probably had to take a fight and loss, just because that Earth Shatter, it's not guaranteed, mind you, but they've got a ways to work still. Bumper up only just back in the map.
Yeah, so this is definitely costing a decent amount of time now. We're already on about 5 minutes when LYNX finally go for the next push. Already caught up.
Ooh, Rod Tongue taking some hurt in the early part of the rotation. The Shatter comes down now, and this will be Nova just cleaning up some members, getting 2 in a charge. Not something you see every day, but still, plenty of work done now for Nova to charge up the rest of their ultimate. So again, LYNX remain at a deficit, and another late DMAC.
That's a big issue now. Nova Esports coming up on their next few ultimates. The grab's going to be huge as well. Rod Tongue finally does swap, and I think you really shouldn't have for the previous fight. At least they would have had a better chance of blocking the Shatter. This time around, though, he does need to start catching up. Oyo is going to make things difficult, though. That's another respawn they got to wait for.
They've also got to fight through the grab. They got a free rally they can use. Bello not quite up on his. I mean, Nova just have every advantage really coming into this fight.
And this is exactly how you snowball this defense. We're starting to get to the stage now where at the 4-minute mark, LYNX don't actually have a time back advantage anymore in terms of attacking into A. There's that grab.
There it is. Now it's about the follow-up. The Transcendence from Panties is still not enough to save Zobi and Velo, just with the angle on the door there. And the rest of LYNX going to drop down. Great economy from Nova. They rotate into more ultimates. The Earth Shatter, also the Sound Barrier, and another huge stagger on Bumbarapa.
This one's even a bigger stagger. He doesn't even get to go back to base easily here. If he decides to, it's going to take him a while. I think he might just look to recharge that mech, and you sort of see, because it's less than 4 minutes, this is about the normal amount of time a team would get to attack A. So 6 minutes is starting to go down very quickly, and there's still nearly 4 ultimates for Nova as LYNX TH come up on their first round of ultimates.
Nova will at some point have to win a fight where LYNX do get to commit ultimates. That's the truth, and this could be the one. The Earth Shatter comes out, the grab as well. They find one. Sound Barrier nicely saving the team. Earth Shatter in response as well. Self-destruct doesn't get much except keeping Crazy S in the fight as Rod Tongue gets rebuffed, forced back, too low to stay in the fight, and they even got a Sound Barrier out of Zobi. Now LYNX are trying to recommit here, but Nova is still kind of keeping them at bay.
Both teams used everything, but Nova still come out ahead, and LYNX still have to back out there. Props to Oyo for using the nano boost onto Nexus, really saved his life. The huge health boost, including the damage reduction. Grab used by Blue.
Yeah, it's the second one, and again, great position on the door where the healers don't have line of sight to the tanks taking the damage. And with that, they're able to drop LYNX again. Eventually, you'd say LYNX should have a fight where they have an ultimate advantage, but they've yet to get one.
The thing is, LYNX right now just need to get some sort of player advantage first. They don't even need to have ults if they can just get a couple members down. Even if they then lose the fight, getting any trades will eventually force Nova to back out because they have to wait for respawners. Very similar to how Nova kept A originally.
Now Nova just sitting pretty on the defense, looking for an Earth Shatter out of Nexus. Crazy Air Stealer coming up on a self-destruct, and there it is, there's the Shatter. Where's the follow-up? They drop Bellow. Nice response from Panties, but Nano Boost on Nexus, or indeed Nexus Boost. That's a bit unfortunate, just the angle on the charge there with the bump off to the side. Crazy S has to self-destruct to preserve the mech, but the grab out of Nutsuru-sama can't get followed up upon. So they drop Blue, but Nutsuru-sama dead. Rod Tongue, really low force back, is going to go down as well. And again, LYNX unable to make serious headway.
Now this time at least they get a reasonably quick reset here as soon as Rod Tongue does come up alive. The need to push past this door very, very quickly because Blue is going to be somewhat delayed. He's very close to a grab. Nova need Blue desperately. The timing here is going to be so tight. As soon as Blue does come back in, it's going to be another 6v6.
And this is with Blue coming up on a grab, indeed, in the fight now. It took a bit of damage to get the faster movement in, but healed up already. Bumbarapa, self-destruct forward. Oh, still found Nexus. Big whip on the grab as well. Oh dear, this is where it could fall apart for Nova. They need to find a way to frag out, but Blue, fresh in the fight, does not have the charge necessary. One did find Panties, but Restia down in the counter trade. Blue, solo healed up by Oyo for the time being as LYNX get their first third, now their second. Nova losing one. Still trying to find a way to get Blue into the thick of the fight. Has to commit now with Crazy S on the flank, but that means Blue gets isolated, chased down and dropped. And Crazy S knows when it's over. He's going to go ahead and take a dive.
And by the way, as all things should be balanced in the universe, Bumbarapa gets a double kill on the self-destruct in the middle of that fight as well. Now LYNX get to finally push on forward onto the speed cap. A minute 12 remaining. It's technically more than what Nova had, but can they do this in time?
Well, it wasn't quite the full hold shutout, but it's still very possible for Nova to win there. That Earth Shatter not the greatest start, and a huge bump down in response.
This is big for LYNX.
And a grab as well. Nova all dropping like flies if LYNX can cap. This is so huge, especially if they still have time on the board. It's just Oyo. They need to wait for the full run of respawns here, Nova.
And there's still 2 ultimates for LYNX right now. They have Zobi and Panties.
Crazy S gets bumped back. He's going to be able to touch the point just barely. They'll pick him off, though, before his buddy Nexus arrives. And now with Nexus in the thick of the fight, they need to make some headway. One gets a kill. That's going to be the starting of the turning of the tide, but it is not yet turned entirely. That's going to be the grab out. Can they get the follow-up? Sound Barrier makes it a little bit difficult as Rod Tongue still getting kills. Bumbarapa, will he at least get one? Not quite 2, but you'll take it. One gets dropped, and they did it. They caps, they still have time on the board. Nova will get given a bit of time here as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, both teams got less than 1 minute, I'm pretty sure here, so we're not going to end up in a draw scenario. They're both going to get bumped up just a little bit. 120 for Nova. Whereas, yeah, 120 for, actually no, 120 for LYNX and 1 minute for Nova. So slightly better on the side of Nova, but when you consider it was 6 minutes plus in the time bank for LYNX TH, about 3 minutes for Nova. Now the difference is only 20 seconds. Look at that boot coming up from Zobi onto Nexus.
I mean, it was so huge. Just cracked the fight way open. Look at how far he was from the fight after that. It's such a game changer. It's a little unfortunate as well that Nova's re-entry into the fight later on was also kind of whiffed. It was just mis-execution on a lot of different fronts. But look, what's done is done. LYNX, you've got to hand it to them. For how much they struggled through that 6 minutes, they did get a good fight and got a massive snowball onto beat, much like what they did the first phase. The difference was they actually got the first fight win that much quicker on A.
Yeah, it's the extra 5 minutes that got burnt off the clock from Nova that is absolutely crucial here for LYNX. If they had a little bit more time, they would be in a sort of scenario where the worst result for them would be a draw, which actually would still technically be a loss for them in the series, but at least at this sort of point, it's undecided right now. No team is exactly won just yet. It's very even. You do have to start thinking. LYNX, what we have seen out of them is they have at least managed to perform decently in these no ultimate fights.
This is interesting. They were going to go full dive. They don't want to do that against the Mei, but the Mei is also a bit of an anti-Goats tech.
That's the thing. You'd maybe even prefer to use it into the Mei, but right now, try to bait the wall, which is very important.
Yeah, that's the plan, but they don't have too much time to go here because they did make a swap. They've only got one fight now. There's the wall. They need to get a fight now. Charge on Nutsuru-sama. Blue's low will go down, but Bello gets traded back anyway. Trade on Nexus. Rod Tongue has a shatter. One's low. What are Nova going to do?
One's just looking for Pixie right now. The Earth Shatter's huge.
The 3 remaining members that were still in the fight. One trades one back. He dives for the point, but he's a man alone. And he is a one-man army, but it might not be so this time.
We back to dive, boys, because Blue and Nutsuru-sama are back on Tracer as LYNX. Final moments of this defense. Nova gets to regroup.
One get on the point for the contest. Gets a
One's low.
Gets killed before Crazy S can come in to help. Pop-up does not catch Rod Tongue. Was in front of the shield for that.
Oh,
and now nice slam into the wall. And this is Crazy S desperately trying, desperately looking to keep the team in the fight. But they are lacking in the numbers and the sound barrier out of LYNX as well. Restia gets dropped. Nutsuru-sama is the only member here that's low on the side of LYNX. And even that's not true anymore. It will be the last gasp here from Nova. Crazy S on the point. Nexus too far away. One not going to quite make it. Gets slam dunk before he arrives. And now 1 minute 20. LYNX need only cap a third.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is not going to be a shutout. LYNX TH will not go down without a fight here. In fact, LYNX TH still in the driver's seat. They can still complete this map. They can still win here. 1 minute 20 to get 1/3. And they must get this 1/3. They must finish this point and win this map. If all else fails and they draw, this will end up in a loss in the series.
The thing that really hurt Nova there was the fact that they only had time enough for one fight. They did the smart thing, I would say, by making a bit of a change. Certainly it's a disciplined thing to do, even if the change might not have been too necessary, but they just didn't have the time. LYNX, with an extra 20 seconds, could actually go back to base to make a swap and still have enough time for at least a fight and a half. You've got that extra little bit of breathing space.
Speaking of time here, none of it can be wasted for LYNX. They just have to get into action quite quickly. If they posture for too long, the moment will pass, the window will close, 1 minute 20 disappears so quickly. And they should know that better than anyone. They had over 6 minutes to start with, and we all know how quickly that went down. So right now for LYNX, they just have to get past these doors, get any trades they can, really get the brawl going. If they just start a fight, if they go even if they lose and get a couple of kills, they get to respawn closer to the point and really get a player advantage. They have to depend on that if nothing else.
And they have to get a third. A draw is still a series win for Nova. It's still a third place finish in the group. It's still an 0-5 record for LYNX. They must get a third.
Eyes on Nutsuru-sama here as well, who's back on the Mei. What can he find?
Wrap around to the backside by one as well. Drops Bello and Nutsuru-sama. At least it's a quick loss from LYNX. They need to reset fast and smart.
The thing is, it's not always so quick because Nova's still picking up kills. This is exactly what we see from Nova every single time.
They're not going to let LYNX off that easy. Rod Tongue isolated as well. Had such a late kill. Nutsuru-sama, oh, he got back alive.
This is a good adaptation though. LYNX can go forward now, knowing that one will dive in, but they need to punish him, and now is their final opportunity to do so. They've spent now up to 3 maps trying to shut down one. If they don't do it now, they're not going to win at all.
They've got to find it. They know he's up there, but they also can't afford to wait too long. They can't just bait out. They've actually just got to commit here. There's the move from one. They actually do successfully bait it, but they've still got to fight for it through this. The shatter, it only gets restier. They don't follow it up. One finds Penny, smack down on Rodtongue. He's going to drop. Bellows down. Not Samalo. Bombarapa indeed. And that's going to be the last few seconds remaining. It will be a draw. The respawns cannot come in quickly enough. With that, it is not pretty, but Nova secure not just the playoff spot, but the third place finish.
And technically, Nova haven't lost a map in this series just yet. Don't want to speak too soon. There is still going to be a map 4, but that had to be the one. And this was mentioned while we were discussing going into the time back, the 6-minute difference versus the 3-minute difference. I don't think we're going to see that kind of disparity again in this series, certainly going to map 4. I don't expect to see LYNX TH that far ahead, but it says a lot. If they can't win when they're that far ahead, I don't know what sort of situation they can win in.
I mean, if that kind of lead only amounts to a draw, I mean, I'll be honest, it explains why LYNX are at the bottom of this group right now. And that's unfortunate to say, but it is the truth. And, well, this is going to be another series loss for them, unfortunately, without even really those map wins back, at least not yet. There's still Escort to go, but we've still got to go ahead and consider how Hollywood went ultimately. You've still got to feel Nova are favored coming in here, as they indeed have been the entire series long.
And it just feels like it's one's playground as a Doomfist right now. As we sort of mentioned here, we're still on patch 1.29. Doomfist is still very, very good, right at the top of tier list. One is abusing every inch of that right now, and it's showing the distance he's getting is absolutely insane. Bello attempted to do the same thing, but he was shut down, and you're still seeing a LYNX TH squad that are kind of scratching their heads back to the drawing board. How do you stop this man? Because they do not have the answer.
And I mean, he does a great job of just ultimately using the verticality of the character as well. I mean, it's what we've often credited Bello for in the past, but the difference is one is having that much more success, as we sort of pointed out back on Hollywood. The way he's ducking and weaving in, the way they're supporting it with the rest of the team, it's not just
like a true
let's
boxer.
See if we get in, get a kill, get a pick maybe. They go, okay, this is our pattern of play here. We'll try and, see if we can get something. But if not, the plan is to get him back out regardless. It's not always about get a kill, keep diving. It's let's see what we can get. It's the same reason you use your Zenyatta right click. It's fishing for something, and eventually it's connecting. Then once they got an advantage, they can just run down so quickly. Guys get so much verticality. Call them Bear Force 1.
And the thing about seeing great Doomfist plays like that...
It's meant to be Air Force One. I do not know why the word bear came out of my mouth just then. I just
That
wrote my own joke.
That gave me a very different sort of image. But the point I'm trying to make here is when you see a very good Doomfist player just sort of weave in and out, get so much damage done and be so slippery that he's not able to be caught, it's the perfect embodiment of the famous quote, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee, because
sting like
you
a bear.
just cannot sting like a Bear Force 1, which also can't be caught. So it's just, unless you're... never mind. I was going to refer to the Air Force One movie, but that's fiction. I think no.
The tagline for that movie was Harrison Ford is the president and he's taking back his plane. That would get me in a...
Honestly, that's very accurate. I mean,
yeah, because that is what the movie is.
No false advertising there.
But it's not Harrison Ford's character is it's Harrison Ford is the president. That's incredible marketing right there. He's not a bear. But he is the president.
But he is there.
That would be a better film, actually, if Harrison Ford was a bear that was the president.
Let's take a look now, though, as we do start to head into map number 4. The game mode is Escorts. Find out how that game mode works.
Welcome to Watchpoint Gibraltar. This is Escort. 2 teams face off as either defenders or attackers. This is the payload. The attacking team has a limited amount of time to escort the payload along a set path containing 3 checkpoints. The payload only moves forward when an attacker stands near it. Defenders can delay the payload's movement by standing nearby at the same time. To get moving again, attackers must clear away the defenders by force. Every time the payload reaches a checkpoint, the attackers score 1 point and gain additional time on the clock. If even one attacker is near the payload when the clock runs out, the game enters overtime. This extends play indefinitely until the attackers are either cleared off the payload or they gain more time by reaching a checkpoint. The round ends when the payload reaches the destination or when time runs out. Teams switch sides each round. Whichever team scores the most points and escorts the payload farthest wins.
So there it is, Escort, and we are going to head into map number 4. Has been decided once again by LYNX TH, and it will be Route 66. Actually, it's a draw, but they were the last team. They were the last team to still lose, so they would go on. Route 66 anyway, the more popular of the two maps in the poll so far.
Yeah, and some people say route. Those people are wrong. Route is the more popular of the two pronunciations.
Unless you live in a certain country. But
unfortunately, the country that Route 66 is in, so...
Yes. It's like, but it is their road.
But they're still saying it wrong.
Oh, well, let's go ahead and take a look at that said road, though. We've been here a few times this season. We're going to end the season at least for LYNX CHN.
I like how the entire first section of this map, aside from the obviously wrecked train, is, you know, it's just like it's a nice diner, and it's, you know, oh, friendly garage, oh, Big Earl, oh, what a guy. And then there's like Zed's, whatever the hell, further on.
Garage.
And then you get to the end, and there's like missiles. It's a very big tone shift. Speaking of tone shift, Nova going to be running a triple DPS.
Not quite the quad DPS that we've seen some other teams run so far, especially on this map. But 3, you'll still take it, especially because Nutsurasama is playing the McCree, so Crazy S should have some very good pressure specifically against him.
Yeah, Nutsurasama could well have a bit of a field day here, though, if he's able to get too many shots off on one and rest here. You'll have to see how it ultimately plays out. Crazy S isn't exactly getting a lot of mileage yet.
Yeah, that's a bit of an issue, but one does have some decent damage. You can start to see nearly getting that rocket barrage.
And Blue finding a pick on the ground as well, getting a flank on Zobi. That's the thing, there are so many threats for LYNX to stay on top of. You've got one in the air, you've got Crazy's sightlines, you've got Blue looking to flank at all times and from all directions. It's so hard for LYNX to manage all this.
So here's what needs to happen here. Bello does change onto the Hanzo, but honestly, the Widow would be a better pick for him if he does have it in his pool. Rod Tongue should possibly also go into Winston, which gives him a little bit more pressure against all the members on Nova, but you need at least one sniper here to really pressure out one and Crazy S.
If Zobi dies next to one, then like he's had the trifecta. He will have died to each DPS.
It's a tough life for a support player right now in this matchup, especially because the Infrasight was used. 2 minutes 40 now remaining on the clock. Enough time has already been spent by LYNX as they attempt to push on through, and still ultimates available for Nova.
So I think they've still not even really got much distance on this payload. Oh, yeah. Well, it's Bello this time. One's now just looking for a rocket barrage. There it is. There's Zobi going down to that one. So that's the trifecta complete. Speaking of trifecta, it's actually a quad, but one gets it. It's a quinella, isn't it? That's what they call it, right?
This is still a bit of an issue. LYNX, I would have to say somebody, maybe Nutsurasama, after using Deadeye, if this is unsuccessful against one and Rescue into the skies, he does need to basically go into a Widow here. There's no real better counter than a Widow against both a Widow and a Pharmacy duo, but the EMP from Blue could be very deadly. They have to watch out for that.
Bello has moved over onto...
already immediate impact.
Yep, a bit like... so fast, I didn't even get to finish saying the name. And Nutsurasama fires one with the Deadeye. This is the opening the LYNX have really been needing. And even with that EMP in there, they just can't get the follow-up. Even with the minefield down, it's just the work doesn't get done. So that's a lot of ultimates used from Nova for no gain, and LYNX actually just out-frag and get moving.
Yeah, and this is where a Widowmaker gets double value against everything, or maybe even triple value, in fact, against Racia 1 and Craziest, who's now changed onto a Tracer, so decent adaptation from him. Does have to still watch out for the flashbang from Nutsurasama, but Bello's already down.
Yeah, that's one, and Oyo is the real carry here, apparently. Crazy S now just looking to run down whatever supports he can, keeping on top of Zobi. So again, just, I mean, no matter what DPS is being played, Zobi's got to die to them. It's just the rules.
So this is where the Tracer is very effective, because there's no Brigadier on the side of LYNX TH, and Bello might consider swapping specifically for Crazy S, but while the Widowmaker still get against the Pharmacy, maybe he just stays. No, he wants to really counteract Crazy S on the Tracer.
I mean, this does also potentially play quite well against the Sombra as well. I would definitely agree with this adaptation, but unfortunately it means LYNX have spent a lot of time swapping up and not a lot of time winning fights.
They're running out of time to win said fights, less than a minute to go. EMP nearly available for Blue.
Also, Pulse Bomb can just secure one pick, eke out that numbers advantage. Again, just so many different things for LYNX to keep tabs on. Now, that's the Pulse Bomb. Not the ideal connection, and good catch onto one as well out of Nutsurusama. The res is committed, but Blue's already down, even as the EMP went out there. That's the thing. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're hacked, you can still
keep Nutsurusama alive.
One finally comes back in, and he does at least get Zobi and Nutsurusama. Crazy S is going to come back in and secure a few more. And LYNX, I mean, even when they're winning fights, it's almost like they're not.
The thing is, Nutsurusama went down. He was their only DPS. He's the main damage dealer. They need him more than anyone else.
That was 2 supports for DPS for the longest time. Earthshatter is only going to get Blue. They don't even finish the kill. He's able to get out. Pandy's got killed on the other side of that. Rodtong at least trades one back, but speaking of one, he's going to get Rodtong himself. Boomber up and down as well. Nova re-entering with a 3K for one, a 4K in back to finish it off. A huge first hold out of Nova. And again, 2 supports and a DPS stayed alive.
And that's the thing as well. One wasn't even playing Doomfist to start with. He was on the fire instead. Was doing a decent amount of impact against LYNX, but as soon as he swaps on to the Doomfist, that is just the bane of LYNX for this entire series. If there is one hero, one pick, and one player that's continually foiled LYNX at every single turn and has been won on the Doomfist repeatedly.
This is just a situation. I mean, this is not where LYNX want to be at all. And this is probably the most one-sided we've had so far. Because...
well, it's not going to be a 4-0, so yeah, we're not going to see that.
Well, it's been as in over the course of this match, right? Because at least in every other stage, LYNX had a competitive first half. They were able to cap, they were able to push it to time bank, so on and so forth. They got it to 99 to 99. I mean, this is the first time Nova have just seemed on fire from the get-go.
Well, this is the first time in the series we're not going to see a map completion, because the problem here is LYNX, at least on the other maps, have at least forced a time bank. This time around, not going to happen.
Now, on the offense, Nova, I don't know that they are going to go for quad DPS there, but I would like to see it. This is sort of closing stretches of that map. This was the re-entry, and you saw Blue look on the kill feed there, not kill feed, up on the top left there. Super low was one of the 2 people who got hit by an Earth Shatter. The other was Nexus. Blue got out with Translocate. Nexus, because no one was paying attention to him, got back up. Everything just went bad.
This is the thing as an attacking team as well. They have read that it is going to be at least a Rhine defense from LYNX, despite it being the Shimada brothers that are going to be played by Bello and Nutsurusama. So, well, DPS is still reasonably effective, despite it not being the full goats, or goats at all.
Yeah, I mean, Pacific is known for its biodiversity. We don't just see goats. Panny's going to get dropped. Now LYNX in a bit of a tight spot now. Bello going to go down to his Shimada brother. That's just poetic right there. Now it's something Nutsurusama, man alone in this fight, does find Crazy S before going down, and LYNX, they might get one last shot here.
Just a little bit too easy there for Nova Esports, finding picks right out the gate, continuing to snowball those picks through. LYNX barely responded. The one kill they did get got immediately resurrected, and now at the precipice of defeat, I mean, the cart is basically at the end, and LYNX nowhere to be seen.
And look at this, just keeping tabs on whatever entry they choose to make. They've spotted them around the left side. No one going to come around the right. So now it's all about collapsing on the rotation.
One down.
Nobody's already dead. That's just how it's got to fall. Panties as well. Blue finds Bello. Bomber up out of the mech. Bomber up and dead to rights. Rodtong as well. Gong rings out. Nova get the cap. 3-0 is the scoreline. One celebrates with some justice. And that's going to be Nova securing a 3rd place finish to go into playoffs.
And absolutely the most dominant map to close out the series as well. I want to say, all things considered, we do say goodbye to LYNX as that was their final run, final match of the season. But look, that was a very impressive run regardless. Outside of Route 66, which was all Nova all the way, Hanamura was a draw. Hanamura, we saw an incredible cap out from LYNX, put us to a 6-minute time back in their favor. Hollywood, a decent turnaround as well. Again, forcing us to time back. Lijiang Tower, still reasonably competitive when you consider how the rest of the series did go there. So LYNX, I want to say they managed to close out their season with a very, at least entertaining, if not very well-performed match.
I mean, let's also not forget that actually that time bank on Hollywood, LYNX came in with a time advantage of roughly 30 seconds. Yeah. That is, you know, pretty significant in itself, but again, the other thing that we have to revisit, unfortunately, is for how competitive each of these maps may have been. At the end of the day, when Nova were really firing on all cylinders, it didn't look competitive at all. It was completely and utterly one-sided. And that's maybe a concern for Nova, the fact that the difference there was night and day, the fact that the difference there was nearly losing maps to the bottom team in this group and absolutely shutting them out. You want to be on the second side of that more often than not, especially as you move into playoffs where, as the third seed, you come up against second place in your opposing group, and that's just in your quarterfinal. If they want to be making a genuinely strong run here, whatever it is that was allowing them to shut LYNX out when they were doing that is what they need to be doing all the time.
Yeah, and I do want to sort of, as we preface the next match as well, get that updated standings there as Nova Esports do clean up now 3-0 in the series and also third place in their group overall, leaving LYNX at the bottom at sixth place, 0-5. You can sort of see there. First and second, we will still have yet to be decided. That will happen at the end of the night. The fourth place position, though, the final spot into playoffs, will be claimed by either We Are Eternal Gaming or Granzo coming up next. And the winner of that will go to 2 and 3 in the series. So they will not be able to compete with Nova at a 3 and 2. But that is exactly what we're playing for now, as Nova do secure their place.
And that's the thing. I mean, the middle of this pack has been so contentious. Right from the get-go, we saw Talon as easily coming into this group as a favorite. Xavier potentially up there as well. And then between the other 4 teams, we kind of didn't know who was really going to make a run for that top 4. But now Nova have come out the top of that scrum at least to secure third place. Fourth place still open. And that's where we stand after our first match.
We still have a decent amount to look forward to as well. 2 more very important matches still coming up on your screens. The next one is going to be We Are Eternal Gaming versus Granzo. But for now, we are going to take a bit of a break. But that is what we have to look forward to when we come back. And don't forget, Talon versus Xavier is still at the end of the night. You do not want to miss that. We'll see you back here again soon.